Hey guys, Hunter Elliott, rangehot.com. I'm coming to you here this afternoon with a Ruger Slient-SR. This is a new can Ruger's introduced. It's good for the 17 HMR, 22 long rifle, 22 Winchester Magnum rimfire. You know, the popular rimfire calibers. So anyway, I've screwed it onto my buddy Clinton's Ruger 2245 Light. We're going to put a couple rounds down range. This is some subsonic 22 long rifle. I've got my sound meter here behind me. We're going to check the suppression levels. Understand this. The sound meter that I'm running is measuring the entire sound wave. So basically what you're hearing is what the sound meter is registering. So it's kind of what the average human here is going to pick up. So put a couple rounds down range, see how she's doing. So looks like the highest number I got was about 73 decibels. I saw some in the mid to high 60s, so it's actually quite a bit of suppression level right to the ear. Understand the average conversation, two people talking, is about 65 decibels. So this is just about a cat hair louder than what two people are talking to each other. Really nice. We've got about 100 rounds run through this can with this pistol. So far you can see that it's functioning fine. There is no problems with reliability. It slides locking back on empty mag. As we know, sometimes with subsonic ammunition, it can affect function on a semi-automatic handgun. But so far, so good. We're just getting started, so we're going to continue on with the review. On the Ruger 1022 Takedown Light. This is a relatively new generation of the 1022. As you will notice, I've got the Ruger silencer threaded onto the end of the barrel. Basically just because silencers are cool and it's more fun to shoot. So I've had this gun out a couple times. We've actually got probably a couple hundred rounds to it. It has proved to be reliable with subs and supers. But you know what? We're going to put a couple rounds down range here on camera so you can kind of get a feel for it. Now this rifle ships without any sights. So I've mounted this Riton. This is a 4x16 scope on here just to give me some kind of optics. So here we go. These are 10 rounds of some Winchester subsonic ammunition. So as you can tell, with the Ruger Slient-SR, it's really quiet. Okay, so here we are at the end of the Ruger Slient-SR little rimfire can review. Probably got about 500 rounds of ammunition all total through the little silencer. Most of that was shot on the new Ruger 1022 Takedown Light, as well as a lot of it was shot on the Ruger 2245 Light. Mostly subsonic ammunition, but we also did shoot some supersonic. With the supersonic stuff, it did quieten it some, but it still had that, you know, that sonic crack. With the subsonic stuff, where you saw with the sound meter, it's really quiet. With the rifle, it was at least that quiet. You know, I had my sound meter on that, and I saw, you know, 67, 68 decibels to the ear. Really, really quiet. As far as accuracy wise, from the handgun and the carbine here, shot out at 25 yards, with without the can, had no effect on accuracy whatsoever. It's a really small little tight can. I mean, it's a silencer, so there's no real moving parts, so there's not a whole lot to say about did it function, was it reliable, that sort of thing. But let's go over a couple features of it. Number one, it being this small, the handguns and rifles that I threaded it on, even with factory sights, it did not affect the sight picture. Where, you know, some cans are a little bit bigger, they'll sit in front of the sight, so you either have to shoot through the can or you have to put silencer sights on it. But with this little thing, thread it and go. I'm pretty sure that was a lot of the idea when Ruger put this together and designed it, to make it where you could just thread it on something and be good to go. It is user serviceable. You'll see here Ruger ships it with this tool. And this is kind of like a large knurled wrench, and it fits on both end caps and kind of sections in tight with the front and rear end cap, and you basically just spin them off and you push out the baffle stack. It is not a monocore baffle stack. You have to keep that in mind. So when you do take it apart, the orientation of the baffles, according to the user manual, is not as important. Each baffle, if you listen, they do kind of snap into place. Now I have already cleaned this one time, so it's actually coming apart a lot easier than the first time I cleaned it. But Ruger suggests that if you do have some trouble getting it apart, you can actually take like maybe a laminated cleaning rod or a little wooden dowel rod, something that wouldn't mar the surface, and you can actually stick it in part of the baffle and just kind of pop it off. Here again, being careful not to damage anything. But it's just that simple to take apart. Really what I did is I got after it with a hard bristle toothbrush and some Hoppy's number 9, and I just got after it good, scrubbed it, let it soak down for a while, and cleaned it. Took 2 or 3 of those. Some of the more harsher buildup, blunt little metal instrument, and just kind of pick off this. Here again, taking care not to damage any of the baffle stack. So it comes apart pretty easy. Back together, the same deal. Each of these baffles, if you'll listen, they actually snap right back in place. In reassembly, you're going to ensure that all the baffles are snapped together like they're supposed to be, nice and tight. Ensure that it's a clean hole all the way through. Come in from the rear, slide it right back into the tube. As you notice, there's some knurls right here. They're going to line right up, and then they're going to snap in. Then once they do that, end cap here, just snug them. And then whenever you're done, you got your little tool. And it's going to go right back together. Alright. And then it's ready to go back on the gun and make everything nice and quiet. So all in all, I'm very satisfied with the can. It's really cool. It's lightweight, it's small. So threaded on the end of a handgun or a carbine, it really didn't add a whole lot to it. Had some new shooters come over, and you know, some that are a little bit recoil sensitive. It's always great to start somebody out with a 22. That's really kind of like everybody's stepping stone into the firearm world. So you know, a lot of people kind of have a little bit of apprehension of the report. Even with a little 22, it still can be loud. So other than being a lot of fun, I see this as an excellent training aid. So there's a lot to be said about this little Ruger can. None of it that I can find is bad. So if you're in the market for a little rimfire can, I believe this will be the way to go. So final thoughts, nice work. If you've got any questions or comments, please come by. Find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, the whole 9 yards for social media. I love feedback, good and bad. So if you've got a question, a comment, or a critique, let me know. If you've got something you want to see, let me know. I love to hear from the people that are watching the videos and reading the articles. And here again, thank you very much. I want you to take care of yourselves and each other, and I look forward to seeing y'all at the range.